Hello, everybody. We're going to go ahead and get started. I just got a few housekeeping things to go over, and then we'll get going. Welcome to the Town of Barnstable's formal site plan review. Today is September 19th, 2024. My name is Brian Florence, and I'll be the chair for this meeting. You may have noticed that this meeting is being recorded. This is a public meeting, and this meeting is being broadcast on the Town of Barnstable's Government Access Channel. In accordance with Massachusetts General Laws, Chapter 30A, Section 20, I must inquire whether anyone is recording this meeting, and if so, to make themselves known. Okay, seeing none, we'll proceed. So this meeting is being conducted in accordance with the Town of Barnstable Zoning Ordinance, Section 240.24.1.2.b4, which requires that development and modifications meeting certain criteria in the downtown Hyannis zoning district shall be reviewed by the building commissioner at a public meeting, which public comment shall be allowed. I want to emphasize that it's for public comment. It's not necessarily for question and answers, although if there's some simple questions and answers we can address, we'll try to do that. Purpose of site plan review is to ensure that a site plan for a proposed development is in compliance with local, state, and federal regulations before a project is submitted for permitting. And I want to stress again that we're talking about a site plan, the property itself, not necessarily the buildings and things like that. So to that end, this meeting brings the town's regulatory agencies together in one place so that you don't have to go from department to department in order to try to understand what's required of you to obtain a permit. While we may, as a courtesy, provide insight into other regulations that may apply to your project during the permitting process, this process should not be construed to be an approval of activities regulated elsewhere, such as in the building code. This is not an approval of building permit. This is not approval of licensing or health regulations or wastewater regulations. This is just a site plan review. The way this process works, we'll read your case into the record. You, as the applicant, will then have an opportunity to give a brief presentation. From there, I will ask for staff comment and/or questions. Once staff has completed their portion of the meeting, I will open the floor to the public for comment. Please raise your hand or indicate through Zoom that you wish to be heard. It'd be helpful if you could mute your microphone until it's your turn to speak. And if you do speak, we ask you to state your full name before speaking. If you need to share your plans, we've made arrangements for you to do so. If you don't know how to do that, just let us know and we'll be happy to assist you. If you are going to share your plans, though, please let me know on the front end so that we don't disrupt the meeting. Maggie will be taking notes and providing a document from this proceeding, so don't feel like you have to take copious notes. We're going to try to do that for you. And with that said, I think we can go ahead and get started. Maggie, would you like to read our case into the record?
Our case today is site plan review 24-64 for 94 Stevens Street LLC, represented by Matt Eddy. The address is 94 Stevens Street in Hyannis, map parcel 309231. The zoning is downtown village, as well as the AP overlay and historic. Applicant is proposing the demolition of an existing church building and the redevelopment of the site with 4 three-story buildings with a total of 40 multifamily housing units and associated driveway and parking lot with drainage systems, landscaping, lighting, and new utility services. An updated plan has been provided, and this application has been continued through the process from August 27th and September 10th, 2024.
Great, thank you. And who would like to start today?
Sorry about that. I was muted. I'll be kicking it off. Brian, for the record, Matthew Eddy, professional engineer with Baxter & I Engineering and Surveying, representing Roberto Maya with Starbuck, who is the applicant. Also with me today, I believe, is Michelle De Silva with Starbuck, Carol Viana and Nader Umar with Sol Plus Architects, and Ben LaFrance with Hawk Design, the landscape architect. So with that, if I could share my screen, is that okay?
Yes, please.
Right here. All right, can you all see that okay?
Yep, we're good.
Okay, good, good, good. All right, so I'll walk quickly through the existing conditions plan. This is what you're looking at here. As Maggie noted, the address is 94 Stevens Street in Hyannis. The lot area is 1.02 acres. It is all upland. There are no environmental concerns on this lot. We have frontage, over 600 feet of frontage along Bearsis Way, and we have about 180 feet of frontage along Stevens Street. The site is bound to the north is residential use. To the south across Stevens Street is the Hyannis Fire Station. Diagonally across to the east is the Belize Ford car dealership. And then to our west is the Independence House. Existing site is currently developed with the church, building located here, parking area here with kind of circulation through. Existing footprint is approximately 6,100 square feet. There are currently 3 curb cuts serving this parcel, 2 here on Stevens Street and then 1 here on Bearsis Way. Existing parking lot contains approximately 25 parking spaces. And this is connected to public sewer, public water, overhead power and data communication, and it has limited drainage on site. So with that, I will jump to the proposed.
Matt, if you could just tick the boxes of table 4 as you're going through this, I'd appreciate it.
I'm sorry?
If you could just tick the boxes of table 4 in the zoning ordinance, I'd appreciate it. I think you've got it all there in your zoning table. I just want to make sure.
Okay. Yeah, so I'll hit on all the zoning highlights there. So as I mentioned, it's going to be a proposed partial raise of the church. The front of the existing building, actually, I'm just going to jump back here real quick. The front portion of the existing building is going to be relocated to 25 Lincoln Street. That did go through Barnstable Historic Commission and was approved. That was March of this year. So the project proposes 4 3-story apartment buildings containing a total of 40 units. There's 2 buildings that contain 12 units each and 2 that contain 8 units. It's a good mixture of bedroom counts. It's 8 1-bedroom, 32 bedroom, and 2 3-bedroom apartments that are proposed. And these are all on slab. There are no basements with this. From the permitting process standpoint in the downtown village district, this use is allowed by right as a multi-unit dwelling. The project does meet all of the zoning criteria, which I will hit on, but it meets all necessary setbacks, lot coverages, etc. And so with that, as I think we agreed that this is only required to go through formal site plan review, which we are currently doing. We've made the necessary abutter notifications prior to this meeting as required. So from a zoning criteria standpoint, zoning table over here, again, we are meeting all of the setbacks per zoning. We're meeting 80% of the primary building facade along Bearsis Way. We're meeting the lot coverage requirements, which is 80% is allowed. We are proposed at 70%. The fenestration calculations for the buildings are met, and those are provided on the architectural plans, which Carol will walk through in a moment. And from a landscape standpoint, we are meeting the 10% interior landscape requirements. We're meeting the landscape buffer requirements, and we're meeting the parking lot and street frontage tree count requirements. We are also then eliminating 2 of the curb cuts. Again, the existing was here, here, and approximately here. So we're closing those 2 curb cuts that are located here. This will be, existing entrance will be reconfigured as shown in this new parking layout. Access does provide necessary access for the Hyannis fire tower truck. That was submitted as part of the package. And part of this process, we've been working through with DPW and Matt Roble, and I will let him speak to it as well, obviously, but we have discussed and gone through the site distance triangle for this entrance, and I believe we are in agreement that it is adequate as proposed. We are providing 40 parking spaces on the site. 40 are required, 1 parking space per unit. We're providing 3 handicap spaces located here and here, which again meets the code requirement. As I mentioned, the parking setbacks and landscape ratios are met. Again, Ben LaFrance from Hawk Design will walk through the landscape plan as submitted in a moment as well. Pedestrian circulation throughout the site is provided, connections to the parking lot. And then we've also provided pedestrian connection from the interior site out to the existing sidewalk along Stevens Street. Trash refuse area is provided here, which is fenced and enclosed and greater than 10 feet from the property line as required. Drainage and stormwater management has been provided. I'm going to jump to the grading and stormwater plan. We're providing 4 infiltration areas. Pre-treatment is met. This design meets the criteria of both the zoning ordinance and DEP stormwater regulations for a redeveloped site. And we're controlling all of the runoff through the 100-year storm for the site with this proposed design. And then utilities. Again, all the utility connections. We're providing new domestic and fire water services to each building, which are shown here. New sewer service connections will be utilizing the existing sewer connection that's in the road here, tying these 2 buildings in. New sewer connection down here. Again, this has all been reviewed with DPW. And I believe Matt Rebel had a few additional comments that we'll take care of at the sewer connection permit, adding a few cleanouts and so forth. Overhead service will be removed where it currently is over here going across Bierce's Way. That will be removed, and a new service is proposed here. Again, coordination with Eversource will be needed on this, but we anticipate setting a new pole here and a ground transformer here and serving the site for the new power, and then data communications will also come in via that. So with that, and hopefully, Brian, I hit on the points that you wanted me to from a zoning aspect. If there's any additional, points on that, let me know, and I can definitely hit on those.
No, you did. We're good.
Okay, great, thanks. And with that, I'm going to turn it over to Carol to just briefly walk through the architectural aspect, if they could. Carol, you there?
Sorry,
no
I was
one-
mute.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah, can I share my screen too?
Yes, please.
So does it look okay? So let me share it. So this complex, we have 2 types of building. They are identical, and so it's 4 in total. 2 of this building of 8 units and 2 of the 12 that I'm going to show in a little bit. The building heights are the same. They are 45, and we have 4 floors as per the zone allow us to. Let me go to the fenestration page.
3 floors though, Carol, right?
Oh, yes, there are 3 floors. We have we have met all the fenestration requirements. I don't know why it's going so slow. The pages, one more second to get to the fenestration calculations. Okay, here we go. So with Matt And all elevations, primary, secondary, all the minimum was 15, and we have like 43 on the first. And we have on the second floor, we have 40, and on the third floor, we have 37. Again, we have 2 buildings of this building type. And that's the back of the building. Even in the back of the building, we would be okay with the fenestration. Yeah, so all the sides too. So, and that would be the closer look for the building, again, 45 feet height. And we kept on the Cape Cod style with the shingles and the clapboard siding. And the same thing we have for the 12 units building. Let me go to the 12.
Harry, if you want to jump to fenestration, it's on the page 21 here. If you want to go right
Yeah.
into.
Thank you.
Okay.
Let me see. It's taking a while to load. It's not going. Again, the buildings are pretty much the same layout. The only difference between them is that this 12 units, it has an addition portion here in the middle of the building. The style is the same and the building height is the same. The front elevation also meet all the criteria per zoning request. The first floor, it's 40. And the minimum required is the 15. The second floor 39 and the third floor 37 for the primary elevation. And this is the back of the building. The fenestration is about the same, all over 15 on the first floor, 25, on the second floor, 28, and on the third floor, 29. So those are for the right side, and for the left side, we have on the first floor 20, second floor 20, third floor 20.5. And on the right elevation, first floor 20, second floor 20, and then also 20 and 39%. Yeah, so for us, basically is the building heights, the fenestration. We worked with Matt to accommodate everything in the site plan as we needed before, the 80% frontage. So that's why we got 2 types of the buildings. Other than that, let's see. Yeah, I think it's all I see here on the zoning table. We are okay with all the requests for this area. And if you guys have any questions, I'm happy to help with.
Great, thank you. Anybody else, Matt?
Yeah, Ben, you want to walk through your landscape plan real quick?
Sure.
Carol, if you could drop your screen and Ben can share yours. If that's
Thank
okay
you.
with Brian?
Okay.
Yes,
Yep.
please.
Brian just needs to enable me to share. There we go. Thank you.
You're all set.
Thank you. All right. Good morning. For the record, Ben LaFrance with Hawk Design. We're the landscape architects on the proposed project here. As Matt was alluded to earlier, we have our landscape calculation table here. We believe we meet all the regulations. Throughout the site, we have proposed 17 canopy trees and over 200, actually over 250 shrubs on the property. all of which are regionally hardy species. We've used the predominance of native species. There are a few non-native, non-invasive that we have proposed, but again, the majority of the plant species that we've used are native species and regionally hardy for Cape Cod. This canopy trees that we have located throughout the property are along our existing wooded edge here. We're reinforcing that wooded edge with some red maples and some London plane trees throughout here that will provide a nice shade on the parking lot, reducing the heat island effect as well. We've also located shade trees where we can along the perimeter of the property. Obviously, with the zero lot line, it constricts our ability to use shade trees in front of the building, but we have put trees where we can in between the buildings and then along the corner here at Stevens and Bierce's Way. Those will really help to create a setting for the buildings as well as reduce some of the massing of the buildings there and provide some shade along the sidewalk as you're walking along the fronts of the buildings. Additionally, along the street sides of the buildings, we have planted the foundation with shrub species that will really help to create a setting for the building. Also, reduce some of the massing along the foundation, create some interest along the street for both our residents and town residents as they walk along the building, varying heights, deciduous and evergreen materials. So really a year-round effect to those plantings along the street side. And then also along the interior for our residents, we have also proposed shrub plantings along the facades of the buildings, again, creating more interest and really creating a base for the buildings on the property. The remainder throughout here, we're having some lawn spaces in here. We thought it would be nice to get a little bit of lawn space out here where we could for our residents to interact, maybe kick a ball or throw a baseball around in the yard. Within the parking area, we've created some plantings here at the entrance, creating a nice welcoming arrival to the parking lot. And then where we had islands, we also planted those to soften the space within the parking lot. So that's it on landscaping, really quick review of that. Certainly available to answer any questions that you have.
Great, thank you. Anybody else from your team?
No, I think we're good, Brian. If turn it over to you, and we're happy to answer any questions from staff. Thank you.
Great, thank you. Maggie, I hear we have some correspondence for you.
One comment that I have is from Planning and Development. And they commented that if a portion of the church is relocated to Lincoln Road / West Main Street, the property owner should be aware that there may be a parking issue and that the project will itself require site plan review.
Okay,
That's
Matt?
all I have.
Yep, that's understood. Yep, and I discussed that with Anna. We will be submitting a separately site plan review for that site. Thank you.
Okay, and you don't do anything additional with historic because of that?
No, I don't believe so.
Okay, very good. Next is DPW engineering.
Morning, Matt Rubble from DPW Engineering. A number of my comments are kind of just repeats from what we've been discussing over at informal site plan review, but just reading them into the record. This project will require a road opening and road opening and trench permit, as well as a sewer connection permit, filed with Town of Barnstable DPW prior to the start of construction. The project will also require filing of a stormwater management permit with DPW Engineering prior to start of construction as well. Stormwater management design has not been reviewed in depth at this time. Detailed review will take place for that proposed system at the filing of the permit application. Any address changes associated with the new buildings and apartment units will need to be coordinated with both Hyannis Fire Department and DPW Engineering. Any sidewalks within the town-owned right-of-ways damaged by construction activities will need to be repaired and replaced to DPW standards. Any tree removals or plantings within the public right-of-way will also need to be coordinated with the Town of Barnstable DPW tree warden. The next couple, these comments can be just either addressed at the time of the sewer connection permit or the road opening permits, but we would like specification of a silt sack to be provided in the catch basin located in the slip lane of the intersection for Stevens Street and Bierce's Way to protect that system during construction activities. The sewer force main for buildings C and D will need to connect to the existing sewer manhole located in front of building D instead of the Y connection currently shown. We'll also need a clean out provided at the building for both buildings A and B on those proposed sewer building sewer lines. We will also need a sewer connection profile drawing provided for each one of the proposed sewer connections. And the last comment is just to be read into the record, the proposed sewer manhole and cleanouts for buildings A and B that are located right now in the town-owned right-of-way as proposed will be the responsibility of the property owner during and following construction. No further comments at this time.
Great, thank you. Building division, please.
Thank you, Brian. Jeff Carter, Building Division. Just going to go over a couple of permitting requirements that we talked about during informal. So there will be a demo permit required for the demo of the structure that's on the property now. Utility shutoffs will be required as part of the building permit application. Building permits will be required for the construction of each of the buildings, and all of those structures will fall under construction control. And any new signs that are going to be located at the property will be required to have permitting through the building division. And last note is this project may be subject to a third party review. That's all we have. Thanks, Brian.
Thank you. I'd just like to add that there may be an over-the-road permit required. Well, there likely is an over-the-road permit required for the portion of the building that's being moved. That's done through the manager's office. So just don't lose track of that. Next is, thank you, Jeff. Public health, please.
Thank you, Brian. David Stan with Health. Our only comment is if they rent out the units, they'll need to register them with the Health Division. Thank you.
Very good, thank you. Hyannis Fire.
Sorry about that, Lieutenant Shropshire, highest fire. I think all of our comments and concerns were addressed during informal, and we just look forward to working with you through the permitting process to work on this project. And any questions for us, just please bring it to us. Thank you.
Fantastic, thank you too. All right, so we're going to open this up to the public for comment. Again, this is a comment section. It's not necessarily question and answer. If you have some questions, we may ask you to address them with the developer later. So who would like to go first? Miss Gilberti.
My name is Donna Gilberti, and I'm a development and marketing director for Independence House. And I guess my question is not so much a concern, but my question is for further clarification on the landscaping and bordering between the two properties. There were trees that were going to be set in that area, and I guess I'd like to know what kind of trees. We're going to be doing some construction as well, and I don't know if they'll be encroaching on what we're planning to do as well, or the height of the tree for the purposes of the privacy of our clientele is quite important to us.
All right. So I'm sorry, was it Ben? Were you the landscape architect? Yeah. Is that something you guys could reach out to these folks and have a discussion with? It can't change what you're getting approved here, obviously, but certainly if you have some adjustments that need to be made if they're minor in nature, we can have a discussion on that. Ms. Gilberti, these folks will reach out to you, okay? Do you want to provide Maggie Flynn with your contact information?
Sure, we can do that, of course.
If you reach out to Maggie, get her your contact information, and she'll get it to the developer for you, okay?
Thank you.
All right, very good. Ms. Kanzer.
I'd like to make a comment.
I've got somebody else already ahead of you, ma'am. Lauren
Sorry.
Kanzer, please.
Hi, good morning, everybody.
Good morning.
I am on the Board of Directors of Independence House. And yes, we are also working on some project. I actually am the chair of the building committee. I would definitely like to follow up with what Donna Gibberti just mentioned. I did not see any plans to provide any privacy fencing, which I feel is very important for security, safety issues. The trees, while they're nice, they'll take a while to grow. I am also wondering if reinforcing the fencing, which I feel should be attractive fencing for good neighbors, but at least minimum of 6 feet high. I would also like to ask for the concept of providing some more evergreen tree buffering to reinforce this privacy and security. One thing that's going to happen with your units being 3 stories high is the people on the top floors at least, or the second, will be able to see right into our property. And that's, that's the way it is. But we really need to make sure that we have the privacy that we need, and the security and the safety. I think there's a very nice job on the landscape. It looks like there'll be lots of plantings, and that's great, but we are really focusing on the property line that directly abuts us in the back. The other issue I'd like to raise is
Can I just touch on that real quick? So
yes.
the developers, the town has laid out a code requirements, and
Yes.
we can't compel them to do anything beyond what is in the code. So Independence House is certainly welcome to put up a fence of their choosing, and if it's, as long as it's below 7 feet, you don't need a permit. You can feel free to put it up. If it's over 7 feet, then you'll need a permit from the building department, but other than
Yep.
that, you're welcome to put up a fence.
So I guess what I'm asking here is to, I know they're not obligated to do it, but I'm asking them to consider including that in their plans
Well, it
to,
sounds like Donna is going to be having a discussion with them. I encourage you to get involved in that discussion and
okay,
meet with the developer and have a discussion about privacy and things that you folks can do
security, okay.
together.
There is one other thing I want to add to the site is
Sure.
that I didn't hear anything about exterior lighting and what's required for that, and whether there'll be lighting I'm sure there'll be some lighting in the back, but how that might affect the abutters.
Yeah, Matt, do you folks have a planometrics plan?
Yeah, a photometrics plan will be submitted with the building permit, following all the lighting standards to make sure that there's, a 0 or near 0.1 foot candle, at the property lines. There'll be no, and it'll be all, there's notes on the plan identifying, dark sky compliant, full cut, 90-degree cutoff, so there will be no lighting spillover off the property.
Great, thank you.
Okay.
So
And
Lauren, let me just kind of clarify what that means for you.
Mhm.
So there's going to be a plan that's going to be submitted during the building permit process, and on that plan, they'll show a diagram of all the lighting components. And there's a requirement in our ordinance to provide what's called full cutoff lighting, meaning that lights can't splay like this. They have to, the housing have to be cut directly off so that the light goes directly to the ground and not to adjacent properties.
Okay.
And dark sky is reference from Mr. Eddy talks about, the lighting not out into the sky and creating a glow over Hyannis, if you will.
Okay, thank you. One last thing I want to touch on in the plan and site plan there, the northwest building, what is the setback? It looks like it's almost right on top of the property line. What is the setback of the corner of that northwest building to the property line? I mean, I'm sure it meets within code. I'm just curious. I've never seen a building of that size so close to a property line.
Matt, do you have that answer?
When I looked at the site plan, it just seemed like it was right at the property line. I mean, is
Yeah,
it
they're pretty
15
close.
Yeah,
feet?
it's the setback requirements are 0 feet, but the corner, if I believe the corner you're referring to, it's 4.2 feet is the closest corner. But again, it's at a diagonal, so it's that's like a very corner point of the structure, and then both.
I totally understand that it's on the diagonal, but I'm wondering, how can you have a 0 setback with a building that size?
That's what the ordinance calls for, ma'am.
What's that?
That's what the ordinance calls.
Is that because on Main Street, since it's downtown, that you say have 0 because the buildings touch each other?
Well, it's,
Is
so
that why
that
it
when they
exists?
developed the ordinance for downtown, they determined setback requirements were 0 in the downtown villages in some instances.
Right. Well,
This
a
is-
building of that size, I mean, I understand it for downtown, and I know we're kind of right at the edge of that new zoning. But for a building of that size on a property to have 0 setback, I'm just wondering like how that is. You can't even do that with a house,
It
like in most
It
places.
doesn't, it has
Right.
it has just over 4 feet, but it's not 0, but it could be 0 if they
It
wanted.
could be 0. I just don't, I don't understand that. I mean, I know, you build your zoning, you have your zoning rules and their setbacks. And again, I think that applies to buildings that are directly adjacent to each other that have no property lines. I don't understand it in a situation like this where we're freestanding buildings, we have property around us and we have to follow, maybe we don't have any more setbacks since the zoning has changed that would include our property as well, right?
I don't know where your property is,
Well,
ma'am.
we're right to the west of you. We're Independence
I don't know
House.
what zoning district it's in. It could be in it, it could be outside of it, but
It's the same.
clear that you don't understand the requirement for 0 foot setback. I get it.
So
Thank
can
you
you,
for showing that.
can that be addressed anymore? Is that not, that's not something, I mean, I get it that you need to put the buildings there and I understand the density of it. I understand the buildings, they look really nice.
The
They look
answer
nice.
is that they're in compliance, ma'am. There's nothing
Yeah.
nothing for us to require that they address. They're in compliance.
I think that I just want to voice an opinion with this. It is public comment. And I want to voice an opinion that whatever meets the zoning for 0 setbacks, I understand that. But in this situation, I think the zoning is flawed. And I would like to present that criticism. And it is just meant from a design standpoint and an adjacency standpoint in this situation. That is what I would like to add to this. Thank you.
Understood. Thank you very much. All right, I'm not sure.
Lance, I'd like to add to Lauren's good comment
is
there.
next.
Roberta Mock, I'm 80 Greenwood Avenue, Hyannis resident. Okay, so I think Lauren's comments were very good, as was Ms. Gilberti. Being a resident of Hyannis, I'm greatly concerned about, I think that these zoning laws are flawed for town of Barnstable. They need to be readdressed before this moves forward. Number one, I want to say I'm appalled that the town of Barnstable would even consider allowing the builder to demolition of this historical church that was moved. It was first built in Katuitt in 1897. It was the very first branch of churches of the Christian Science Church. Very historical. It was one of the first branches that were of the Christian Science Church, has a lot of historical significance. The cornerstone was laid in 1902. The building was they relocated by oxen the church from Katuitt to its current location because as Hyannis grew as the commercial center in the 50s and 60s. I greatly object to this. I think the town needs to readdress their zoning. I think that the town has made an error. I highly object this being done. What else can I say? Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. Zoning
The
does
church
not.
should not be torn down. Thank you. Wait, I have one more thing to say. I noticed
Hold on, one
building
moment.
codes
One moment.
along the water.
One moment, please, Ms.
Where they
March.
take a house and the house has to be part of it because it has
couldn't hear you because
historical
we're talking over
significance.
each other.
Wait, I need to finish this. I agree with the setback being 0 is a mistake. Also, we're very careful with people who have houses along the water, such as down by Kelmis Beach, where the town required that the existing cottage be part of the building. Here's my question. Why did they require that? Why would we allow a church to be of historical significance to be demolished? I don't understand this. It's insanity. Our town needs to take a step back before they move forward. This project should not happen. It's an abomination. Thank you.
Thank you. Just for the record, I wanted to say that demolition of the church is not a zoning matter. It's a matter of historic commission. So, but thank you for your comments. Okay, is there anybody else that would like to make a comment? Seeing none, does anybody from staff, the committee, see any reason why this matter cannot move forward to permitting? Matt, do you see any need to go to the planning board for any type of relief?
No, I do not.
Okay, all right. Go ahead, Ms. Kenzer.
Hi, again, I just thought of something. Is there anyone that could get back to me from the town so that I can better understand I'd like to understand this zoning, this zero, and why I mean, I'm all for housing. I know we need it desperately. I am just very curious about in this instant, and I understand the compliance and it's in this zoning. I get that. But what I'm really interested in understanding how this could be possible, like how a building of that size, a new construction, why we have this condition happening in this, every site is kind of a little bit specific, and I understand zoning areas and zoning, but I'm really interested in how we can have a building of this size with basically zero. That would be like, I don't understand how this was, how this happened.
Yeah, you've said that several times, and I get it. So I'm going to answer your question for you.
Okay,
Yes, you may talk to the town planner,
okay.
James Kupfer.
What is the name?
James Kupfer.
Okay,
Maggie can provide you with his contact information if you like.
okay.
You're welcome to talk to him and ask him how the downtown zoning was developed and the rationale for setback limits.
Right, I mainly want to understand this situation.
I understand.
Yes, thank you. I would like to do that. Thank you very much.
Yeah, very good. Anybody else? Last call. All right. Since there are no objections to the project moving forward by staff, I would find the matter as approvable and may proceed to permitting.
All righty. Thank you very much, all. Have a great day.
Thank you as well. Staff,
Thank you.
Thank you.
Appreciate it.
Yep, no problem. Staff, thank you for your time and attention. And Sarah, appreciate your help here today. Thank you.